You're listening to Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks with Don Carpenter and Chris Brennel.
And Vic Wright is back.
Yeah, how's it going, boys?
What's going on?
Oh, not much.
Oh, just having babies and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Vic didn't have a baby, but
We don't know that.
It looks like I could have a baby,
well,
but no,
you're not the only one here.
I'm a dad now, but yeah, I didn't have the baby.
Okay.
He's probably on no sleep.
Yeah,
Actually, no, it hasn't been too bad.
Nice.
It hasn't been too bad.
You're getting the best of it so far. I mean,
So far, yeah.
You look fairly well rested.
Oh yeah, it's not too bad. You know,
That won't last long.
this morning, let's see, the baby started crying at like 3:30, so I usually get up before anyway. So it's like, okay, I'll just get up a half hour early.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I kind of know how you feel a little bit because I've been having to get up a lot lately to eat in the middle of the night. I think I have some sort of worm or something.
No,
I think there's an issue.
That's just you.
Like last night, I got up at 1 and 8 and 2:30 and 8 before I had to get up and get ready for work. But I think it's some sort of weird worm issue.
We'll
figure it out.
I got up so
but
early.
you'd be skinny if you had a tapeworm.
I don't think it's a tapeworm.
Oh, you think it's
I think it's something else. I have lost a few pounds.
a fat worm?
I got up so
lost
early.
2.5 pounds.
I got here before Don Carpenter even got in.
I think I gained those 2.5, by the way. Yeah, you were here before me, which is...
I was like, what the heck? Where is everybody?
Well, and the new guy, JJ, sometimes he gets here before me, which is, I'm not used to having anyone here when I come in. It really is odd.
You think somebody's robbing the place?
Well,
who is this?
Yeah, I mean, why are the lights on? I mean, I usually get to have some peace by myself. Not that anybody bothers me in the morning.
No, that's true. You and your breakfast burritos.
Yeah, or no, it's burgers from Maverick now.
You're getting morning burgers? You're eating burgers at 4 a.m.?
Yep, they even make them specially for me now. A couple days I came in and say, hey, do you have any burgers? They started making them at 4.
Hey,
so
can't beat the well.
I get a fresh hamburger at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You're DC. Of course they're going to make you a fresh hamburger.
Do you know who I am?
Right.
I just pulled that one.
Jeez.
And they said, no, we don't know who you are. We don't care.
Oh,
All right,
boy.
So I've been gone for a couple weeks. The Riders, of course, they lost in the championship game, right? Down there.
Yep, the Northwest Regional, yep.
Not bad in that regard. We've got football coming up. We have hockey coming up. We have basketball coming up. Just a whole bunch of stuff.
I won't sleep for a few months now.
Yeah,
now that football season's...
It's going to be a very, very busy season. And we might even have some other things going on that...
oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we can't
we can talk about the one-man show.
Oh,
I have the one-man show coming up next month, I believe. I've got something going with Camplex.
I was thinking of something sports-related.
Well, the one-man show is kind of sports-related. There is some juggling involved.
Okay, well, that's a sport, I guess.
And there's some glow sticks and a lot of oil. Very messy.
If ESPN shows poker, then sports, I guess juggling's a sport.
By the way, if you want tickets, email me, sports@basonsradio.com. Soon they'll be available on the website.
And complaints.
Yeah, right. 18 and up, folks. You have to be 18 or older to go to my one-man show. I can't tell you why.
Well, you work blue.
All right, so we got some special guests today, all right?
But we can't say that yet.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
we can't?
No, not yet.
It's a surprise.
We have a surprise guest.
Well, it's not really a surprise because they already posted it on their Facebook page.
Well, we can say
we
have
a surprise guest.
I saw it at 6 this morning. They said make sure you tune in to News Talk 1270 today.
Well,
just pretend he's not here.
Coach Hodge is on his way, and he's going to do the official introduction.
Oh my goodness gracious! Wow.
So can we just edit that last minute or so out?
No.
Is this live?
It's live.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hit the dump button? You had the dump button. You could have hit the dump button.
It's all right.
I thought we taped this whole thing.
See, it builds the suspense. I mean, us arguing back and forth of whether we can introduce our special secret guest builds suspense. It's part of the theater of the mind.
Oh, man.
But you do have some stuff that you wanted to talk about. I know Chris has
talked about it. I got the email, and I just happened to check my email for like the first time in 8 days when I was on vacation, and I said, Ryder, I guess got one last player in, so I forwarded it to Chris. This is the first time I actually really read it. I knew she's from Compton, so Robin Butler, the latest signee, and you put it in the sports reports a couple times there, Chris, but. Latest signee for the Pronghorn women, 6'1" forward and center. She went to Compton High School. You know what? We gotta play it straight out of Compton whenever we talk about her.
Probably so.
We have to.
Well, we could, but
we'll take gin and juice as a backup.
You've got to at least get the instrumental version to it.
Well, next episode. You have next episode?
It would have to be the instrumental version.
Yeah, definitely. Don't play the real one.
Yeah.
But anyhow, 18 points, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks per game. She's the final player to sign on for the Pronghorn women. So the Pronghorn women will have 13 players this year. And yeah, geez, before you know it, what's today's date? The 18th? Next week, I think they start workouts.
Yeah. I'll say this. And last time Ryder was here, he talked about some post players they were looking for, and I'm not sure if she was one of them, but I'm guessing she probably was.
Well, she's 6'1". I wouldn't be surprised if she plays a little center.
Well,
yeah.
and
she'll be a hybrid.
And we talked about all the recruiting that they were doing in the L.A. area. I mean, they
well, it's because of Matt Strickland.
Yeah.
Matt Strickland, the assistant coach, who of course played for the Pronghorns in his playing days before transferring to Rocky Mountain. He's from the L.A. area, so you know he had the opportunity to try and recruit some players. Did a good job. He got 2 players, and apparently, I guess Robin also played with the other player from the California area, Shatira Powell. So when they played either with each other or against each other in the team ball or in club ball, I guess I should say. So I think it'll be interesting. Should be good. By the way, I ran into Neary as well when I was on vacation. Neary has filled up his team also. So when he's ready to release the information, we'll get Neary in here. We'll get Ryder in here. So we'll definitely get some more information. So Neary he likes to do it in groups. So we'll find out more later on from Neary. But the Pronghorns are all set. We're ready for basketball.
Yeah, it is that time of year already. What happened to the summer? We had like 1 week of summer.
We still have 1 week of
Well, we do, except it's going to be 50 and cloudy, and then the next week it's going to be snowy. Blizzard Watch 2015.
Oh, God, here we go.
I've seen the forecast.
Farmers, you see the Farmer's Almanac? They said it's supposed to be a snowy winter this year across the nation.
Oh,
great.
Let's see.
Awesome.
Let's see.
And I bought a car that I'll have to put snow tires on. Great. and 18-inch wheels, which means the tires are going to cost more than I make.
How much you pay for that, for the car?
$16,000.
Oh, not bad.
No,
what's the payment on that?
Oh, I forget what the payment is. But it was $3,000 below book. We'll just say I got it.
Oh, you got a good. So you're a good negotiator, DC.
Oh yeah. I got it.
Right.
I got it below book.
Okay.
Way below book.
Now we also have the soap scrimmage or the food scrimmage this week, right?
We do. 6 o'clock Friday. Camels soap scrimmage. It's going to be good. Bring some canned food, and you get in the ball game.
Should be awesome.
Should be cool.
Now,
and you don't get to pick through the best stuff.
No.
This is for charity.
This is for charity.
We're talking to you, Chris. We're talking
wait a
about
minute.
You don't get to pick.
Wait a second. Why can't I?
Because it's for charity.
You know what? This is the soap scrimmage. Bring Chris Brennell food, and you get in the game.
No.
That's
no.
Now, are you gonna get something named after you at the concession stand this year?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna have the Chris Brennell dog at the Rough Rider games. I'm gonna try.
So you need something different at the football games.
Definitely. I'm thinking a burger or something.
Burger? Nacho related product.
Oh,
maybe?
a nacho related burger. Interesting.
Nacho burger. Well, see, you could get a burger with nacho cheese on it.
Oh, or crumbled up Doritos or something, or a Cheeto burger. I've had a couple Cheeto burgers late night.
Oh,
borderline. I'm definitely incoherent usually. So
yeah, I just like my burgers with ketchup and mustard and plain stuff on them. Never got the idea of putting chips on a burger. Or French fries, for that matter. I know a lot of people put French fries on burgers.
You know what I put chips on a sandwich, bologna sandwich? You put some potato chips on there with some mayo. Ho! That's good stuff.
Why can't you just eat the chips on the side like a normal person?
Because I like the crunch in my sandwich, DC.
Yeah, that is true. None of us are normal, or we'd be doing something.
Right.
We'd have real jobs. I'd be driving a truck still, and I don't know what you did before you got into radio.
I'm in radio because
he was doing rodeo.
Oh, that's right.
He was a cowboy.
You were a professional cowboy.
I'm in radio for 2 reasons. I was sick of getting hurt, and number 2, I can do this job hungover. And that is And that's the main reason I'm in radio.
Well, that's why you were always hurt. You were riding hungover, and you can't do that.
Or drunk, whichever.
Oh.
Or that. See, you can't do this job hungover.
No, you can't. That's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Do not email me. Okay, do not email me. That's called a joke.
At least I couldn't. I mean, I have my headphones up so high that it would just split my skull.
If you get offended, email DC because he writes all this stuff.
I don't even plan
Anything
a segment before I go on the air, much less write anything.
Anything I say offensive, DC plans it. So email him if you're offended.
I don't think so.
So I want to know, you had a chance to speak with Perlyberg, I'm sure. What did Perlyberg have to say about the whole season altogether? I mean, that was the furthest they've ever gotten in that regard.
Well, I thought what was interesting, and it transcends the game of baseball, he said that this has been the best 2 years of his life in general, just the kids he's been around, the camaraderie. The team was the closest team he's ever had. So aside from winning a state championship last year, making as far as they've ever gone this year, it was that stuff that really he talked about a lot, and he just wants to keep it going. He wants to make it to a regional again next year, and maybe this time go to nationals. I was planning on going to Carolina, but when they stopped short. We were getting a pull together. Some of the people of Gillette were getting a pull together, try to get me to North Carolina.
And remember, we don't fly coach.
Yeah, first class people. First class.
At least business. At least business. Well, it would be domestic, so you don't really get real first class. You get that business first, which is a nice wide seat and a pre-flight beverage, but that's about it.
We need the Basin Radio jet or copter. That's just we definitely need that.
You have fun flying a copter all the way out to North Carolina.
Oh no, we'll get a pilot too.
Well,
get a pilot.
What he's saying is a helicopter wouldn't make it to North Carolina. We need a real jet. We need a G4 or G5.
Well, how about both? The chopper can take us, just around the state.
Maybe if Donald Trump becomes president, we can borrow his old plane.
Yeah,
because then he'll be on Air Force One, so we'll just take that thing from him.
There we go. Now
that's a 757. I can deal with that. Gold toilets and.
DC's having trouble getting a TV in his studio. We're trying to get a jet.
It took me 2 years to get a memory chip for my computer. The TV thing, if I bought my own, it might get put up within a year. And I've thought about it. I've thought about buying my own TV because I want to have it run through the board. So if I see something breaking news on TV, I can just pot up the board and see what's going on with the news.
Exactly.
Or watch ESPN while I'm doing my show.
You really need two TVs because you need sports, you need ESPN on one, and then news stuff on the other.
Okay. Well,
wait. This is not right. He's wearing a Toronto Blue Jays hat, and you're a hockey coach? I know you're from Canada, but come on, man.
Well, he's from Canada.
I know, but still.
There's a Canadian leaf on there.
Baseball? Anyhow.
They don't have any other teams. What are you wearing, an Expos hat?
Well, I figured he'd be wearing, I don't know, the Canadiens or well, didn't you say you were a Bruins fan? No, that's right. Your family's all Bruins. We'll talk about it.
Well, yeah.
We got a lot to get into.
We do need to take a break. So let's do that real quick. We'll come back and talk some hockey.
An hour without politics? Yes.
It's about time.
Tuesday morning quarterbacks on News Talk 1270 KIML. You're listening to Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks with Don Carpenter and Chris Brennel.
And welcome back. We have more people than we have mics now.
Me and Vic have to split one.
Yes.
Say hi, Vic.
Howdy.
Should have said hi, Vic. That's the obvious answer for that. Okay, so in studio, we finally get to talk in person. We have Gillette Wild coach Brendan Hodge, and actually have a special announcement. So why don't we get that out of the way first?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. First of all, guys, again, the big announcement today is I just want to formally introduce our assistant coach Tim Bronell. Welcome to the Gillette Wild organization and the family, and we're really excited in Gillette to have him, and he's going to be a tremendous asset to us. So just want to say welcome, and let's have a good year this year.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, and thanks for coming by. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh, man, where to start? I grew up just outside Chicago, and then back in 2006, I moved out west here to, south of Gillette, but to Laramie, Wyoming with my mom and dad. And my senior year of high school, I moved away, played junior hockey up in Billings, and then went out to Utah, played some college hockey at Weber State. When I got done with that, graduated, I moved back to Chicago and trained and dabbled with the minor pro for a little while, and then couldn't find a job and moved back home with mom and dad when I was 24. So left when I was 17, moved back when I was 24.
And that does happen sometimes. Radio people do that from time to time too. So, did you have to do that, Chris?
I did. I had to live with my family for a couple months after college.
I was in my 30s before I got into radio, so that wasn't even an option for me. I have my parents asking me for money, which is not good because I don't have any. So I mean, you have a pretty good background in hockey. I mean, is it nice being back in Wyoming? Because I mean, Chicago, Laramie, Gillette, these are way different places.
Yeah, it's I love being back out here. When I first moved out, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't really like it too much. It was a big culture shock for me. And then I left and got to see a lot more of the country, and I came back and just love it out here. And I owe a lot to the state of Wyoming for everything they gave me when I moved out. I was a small fish in a huge pond in Chicago, and when I came out here, I was a big fish in a really little pond. And I feel that's why I got noticed and was able to do the things I can do.
Okay. Well, so when you played, what position did you play?
I was a defenseman.
Okay. So you're used to getting in and getting dirty.
Yeah.
Then that's always been when I play, and I didn't play organized hockey. I mean, we didn't have organized hockey where I grew up, but I played a little bit. I was never very good. But if I were 3 inches taller and 30 pounds heavier, I might have tried to play defense, but it just didn't work out that way. I was a little guy.
Now, I played a little hockey back in the day in like 6th grade PE class, and one time I got a hat trick.
Well, yeah, you did better than I ever did.
I can ball a little bit. Sure, we didn't have skates. We were just running, but
you could ball a little bit in hockey. Did you think about what you just said?
You can ball in anything, Vic, right? That's true.
Well, you wouldn't call it. Never mind.
Ballin'.
No, the alternative would sound like something that might get us in trouble. So.
Oh, I've gotten you in trouble before, so it wouldn't be anything new.
You get yourself in trouble. You don't get me in trouble. I've officially never been in trouble, which is odd.
All right, well, let's get this going. The reason why I said, because if I don't start rolling the ball here or rolling the puck, they'll just go on tangent. Now, Coach Hodge, let's talk about your history first off. We talked about it before a little bit. You're wearing a Toronto Blue Jays hat because you're from Canada originally, correct?
No.
Well,
Nope.
your family.
My family's from there. Yeah.
That's what I mean. Your family and you're a Wayne Gretzky fan,
Yep.
and the old time Wayne Gretzky fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, before the LA Kings.
Oh yeah. This is back in the day when ESPN had hockey on, and this is probably dating myself, but it was when ESPN would always broadcast the Oilers games when I was growing up in the early '80s and mid '80s around there, and I just fell in love with the way that they played. And obviously, I mean, Wayne Gretzky is Wayne Gretzky. I mean, one of the greatest hockey players ever to play the game. So to watch him kind of grow up and play the game, like we're watching some of these other guys like Crosby in this era. That was my era was then, and I just fell in love with the way that they played. And my parents probably weren't too happy at me because I used to sneak downstairs because they were on pretty late at night. But I used to love watching them, and I also had 2 older brothers too that used to always beat me up if I bandwagon jumped if I jumped a different team. So after the first few beatings, you kind of figure out like, okay, I'm just going to pick a team and stay with it. I don't care how bad they are or whatever, So, but it's like I said though, just growing up in that era and just watching Gretzky play. I mean, And the style of play that they play now is just something that, it's a fun, exciting game to watch. It's an up-paced tempo. So I've just always fell in love with them. And the Blue Jays hat, this is my year. I guess I can be happy. I haven't been happy since 1993. So, I was actually telling Tim this the other day. Usually by this time of year, I'm looking at next year already, with the Blue Jays. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do in the summer to get guys, because our World Series used to be basically at the All-Star game. We'd be in first place by the All-Star game, and then after the All-Star game, we'd finish dead last. So right now we're pretty excited. We're riding high right now. But
let's talk about that 1993 Blue Jays team a little bit.
Joe Carter?
Joe Carter.
The old Phillies fan.
No.
I grew up a Phillies fan.
Oh, well.
That game broke an entire state's heart. I'm telling you, Mitch Williams.
It was the wild thing.
20 years before Mitch Williams could step foot back in Pennsylvania after that.
Wow. Hey,
they ran him out of town.
Well, growing up in Boston, how do you think Bill Buckner felt? You know what I mean? And he finally was welcomed back, I think, about 4 years ago, and that was back in '86.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You win, and people welcome you back. I mean, obviously the Phillies went on and won a World Series a little bit later on, and people forgive it. So it's kind of like I'm also a Baltimore Ravens fan. They don't mind the Colts anymore because they have a couple of their own. So,
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it is definitely one of those things you just kind of, I guess you get over it after a while. I just gave up. I gave up on the Phillies.
Yeah.
I just completely gave up on the Phillies. They have no interest in winning anything.
Yeah, well, winning a championship always solves a lot of things.
Yeah,
People don't even really remember Mitch Williams anymore since they won the World Series.
Well, he does broadcasting there now.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right. I've seen that.
So I mean, they really forgave him. They gave him a job. I mean, they not only let him back in town, they actually let him broadcast some of the games. So, I mean, of course, I mean, you grew up in a hockey family. I mean, it's that's something I think a lot of people around here, I mean, I think we like hockey around here, but it's not really part of the culture like it is, I mean, even in Boston.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up in Boston, it's a huge part of the culture.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, when I was growing up, I mean, they were recognized as the big bad Bruins, and they would always battle against, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies, So growing up in that era of my dad basically just retiring when I was born in '78, and that's when he retired. So, I mean, growing up in that era, you still kind of had that feeling. I mean, hockey was number one in Boston. I mean, the Red Sox were struggling, the Patriots were struggling, the Celtics. Well, I guess the Celtics were still winning their championship, but the whole city of Boston really gravitated to the sport of hockey, and they loved it. I mean, my dad still walks in Boston, and people stop him and ask him for autographs, and he's 72 years old, 71 years old. So, just around that city and around that whole East Coast, I guess is, if you're not playing hockey, there's kind of something wrong with there's something wrong, But growing up in the family that I grew up in, with my dad playing in the NHL, my brother playing in the NHL, and my other brother getting drafted. To be honest with you, my dad kind of asked each one of us kids, one of us boys, what we really wanted to do, and it was kind of funny because we'd always drive by the old Boston Garden, the old one, not the new one they have, the very old one, and he asked us, and I was the third son, and he told me, he goes, I asked your brothers at the same time, driving by this rink, do you really want to play hockey? Because it's a hard sport. It's a tough challenge, and I don't think kids these days grow up realizing how tough it really is. And I remember looking at my dad and saying, yeah. And my dad was just like, well, I kind of wanted you to play baseball. I never picked up a bat, a ball, never in my life. I never played baseball, but he was like, I really wanted you guys to play baseball. Because, I mean, now looking back at the contracts, I wish I would have played baseball too.
Well, yeah, you would have gotten in at the right point. Anyway.
Yeah, but I just, growing up and playing the game, I just fell in love with hockey. I mean, I respect the game now. I really appreciate it. It's brought me a lot in my life. I've seen almost every monument you can see in the whole country. I've pretty much driven through every state. And I got to do it for free. I got to do it out riding a bus, and what we're trying to present to the guys this year is, when you're on a team, it's basically a family. you know. And when you're traveling around the country and you're doing these things, you're kind of a family driving around, and, you know, there's a bunch of brothers, you know, and that's what we want, is a band of brothers this year. And you know, so yeah, like I said, it was a great time to grow up in the hockey world, and when I was growing up. And you know, I thank my dad for, you know, he was always there for me. He was always there to give me a word of advice. And I remember my rookie year of professional hockey, I was about to retire because I wasn't playing. You know, I was pointing the finger at the coach, and, you know, he doesn't like me and this and that. And I remember I sat down with my dad one day and said, "Okay, I'm done." And he said, "That'll be the biggest mistake of your life." You know, and I went back and I ended up playing 9 more years of professional hockey, and ended up winning a championship in Rapid City. So at the end of the day, everything worked out fine. And, you know, and the biggest thing that came out of it all is I met my wife, you know, and now I'm starting a new kind of chapter in my life. And, you know, so that was one of the biggest things. And, you know, if I never played hockey, I would never have moved to Rapid City and would never have met my wife. So, you know, so it was definitely a great time for these kids. And, you know, it's an experience I want them to enjoy, but they also got to realize it's a lot of work too.
Well, and hockey's kind of unique in the minor league system. I mean, it seems like even compared to minor league baseball, there's a lot of travel involved. I mean, there's a lot of how many teams did you play for first?
I played for 5 teams in 10 years. So I played, you know, I just had a 2-year stint on each team.
Well, which is less than a lot of guys do.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some guys. You everybody knows the stories about the guys that have spent spent 15, 20 years in the minors, and they just go from team to team, and that's the life that they like. I mean, is Rapid City the favorite place you ever played?
Well, to be honest with you, I think it was just because of the fans. I mean, when we were playing there, I mean, it was hot and heavy. I mean, you couldn't get a ticket to come watch us play. I mean, we were selling out 5,000, 6,000 fans a game. I mean, it was bedlam there. And now it's, you know, it's kind of like that, you know, the old theory of, you know, it's kind of wearing off now a little bit. But when I was there, it was hot and heavy. And, you know, I think as close second place to where I played was probably be Texas, you know, just because of the nice weather.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
I mean,
didn't have to worry about starting your car 20 minutes before you left, you know, and you got up and just, you know, and I'm a big golfer too, so I got to golf all year, and you know, I got to propose to my wife too while I was there. So that was definitely a close second, was Texas. But Rapid City was definitely, you know, it has my heart for sure. I mean, especially, you know, it took me 7 years to win a championship, and I got to do it there on home ice in double overtime with like 15 seconds left in double overtime. We scored to win the championship, and it was one of the coolest things that have ever, you know, and one of the coolest things that ever happened to me, first of all. But, you know, people always ask, you know, why do you play? Why did you do that for? Why do you do that? And it's like, well, that was the reason right there, is winning that championship and holding that trophy. You know, and it's not the Stanley Cup, but you know what? It was something very, very important to me to be able to hang my hat on that at the end of my career.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of loving hockey, here in Gillette, there's Wild stickers everywhere. These people just love hockey. I get stopped and asked about Wild hockey all the time. You know, new coach, new questions. I'm telling you what, when you have some home games, there's going to be a lot of people there, and they like to support the Wild team. Now, you have your goalie situation secure. Just talk about where you are as far as getting the roster done. I know it's almost done. You've got some newcomers. I think you'll have a nice mix of veteran players and some newcomers this year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Tim wasn't really on board yet, but when I took the job over, I mean, I really, really focused in on getting that nucleus back from last year's team. And I know I've said that, you know, 100 times probably already, but it's very, very important to bring back that group of guys that went to battle last year and got so close to, you know, they got really close to making all their dreams come true last year. You know, they really did. But, you know, the way I'm looking at it this year, and the way we're looking at it, and the way the kids are going to come in looking at it is, you know, they left something out on the table last year. You know, they didn't achieve their ultimate goal. You know, and, you know, some of the guys, the ultimate goal is college. Some of the other guys, you know, might not be able to play hockey in college. So this championship this year, if they could win it, you know, might be their last thing in hockey. You know, it might be their last time playing hockey. And, you know, and you know, winning a championship, and, you know, I won my championship in Rapid City, you know, 5-6 years ago, and those guys are still close to me. You know, we still talk, we still, you know, we'll Facebook chat once in a while or something like that. So, like, there's a unique bond you get when you win a championship, and it stays with you forever. And this year is going to be, even though there's new coaches, we're competitive. We want to win, and these kids, they want to win too. The guys that we have coming back. I mean, Alex King is going to be our captain again this year. And he's really, really driven this year. He's really wants to do something very special. And all the guys. I mean, we had our camp last week or 2 weeks ago, and actually last weekend. Sorry, we had our camp, and we were impressed with some guys, and we were also, saw some guys that said they were working hard over the summertime, and
well, they are teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. But we were really impressed by some of the guys we saw. Like you said, there's going to be a pretty good mixture of new guys and older guys. So there is going to be a transition period for these new guys that are coming out of high school. You're playing against guys now that are 20 years old. They have a purpose for playing now. I mean, they're, in high school you have a purpose, but, this is the real purpose of trying to get to college. And some of these guys are on their last chance to play hockey in college. So it's a little bit tougher. It's a little bit, more physical, and so there will be a learning curve for some of the guys. And that's why it was so important to get that nucleus back so we could kind of lean on them and say, you guys have been here before. You guys know how to act, how to, in these situations where a high school kid might not know that quite yet, and it'll take him a few games to understand that, holy mackerel, like this is this is a lot faster than I've played, or guys are a lot stronger, So, but yeah, we're really, really excited. The roster's starting to shape up the way that we want it to, and we're anxious. I mean, I remember the first interview I had with you guys, it feels like years ago, and now we're a couple weeks away from hitting the ice, and it's definitely, this is the more exciting part for us is, now we're getting closer to being on the ice with the guys and doing and teaching hockey, and helping these guys further their careers. That's the part that we like the most.
Yep.
We're not a big fan of the other stuff that we got to do, but
now I don't know if they have the ice down at the facility yet, but have you been? I'm sure you've been down to Camplex and you see how it's a little bit of a different setup with the crowd up above. It gets a little bit loud. Well, I'll just warn you about that. When you get 1,100 people in there, which is almost unheard of for junior hockey, you get the sound coming down at you. You guys have played in front of huge crowds, so I'm sure you're used to the noise. But how do you get the players used to that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's got to be a little bit of you got to keep control. You got to be in control. Just because there's a big crowd out there, you don't have to take yourself out of the play to make a big hit to make the crowd go nuts. I mean, you just got to stick to your game plan. You got to stick to what the purpose is. And, it's great to have the fans. It does definitely help out quite a bit to kind of rejuvenate the guys when they're, when they're not playing as well. But when it gets a little loud, it's a little tough on us to kind of coach because we start yelling, and it's like we're not mad, we're just trying to tell you what to do. But it's one of the things though as a hockey player. I mean, it's no matter how big the crowd is, no matter if you have 1,100 people or you have 11 people there, there is a purpose for why we're there playing. It is to get these kids to that next level of college hockey, or just to get to college, and it's a thing for us to we got to do a lot of maturing with these kids. We got to get these kids matured because, I said this quite a bit too. College life was a bit of a surprise to me. You got to do your own laundry now. You got to kind of take care of yourself, and you got to do these things, and that's the kind of the way that we're going to be with these kids this year. We're going to treat them like men. Because in college, they don't care.
That is true.
If your parents call, it doesn't really matter. So. But that's one of the big things we're trying to do this year, and like I said, the ultimate goal is either go into college to play hockey and get your education, or it's just to go to college to get your education. It is big to have that piece of paper these days, that degree when you go to a job application or applying to a job. You need to have that piece of paper to say you graduated from college. You really need it's a step up for so.
Yeah, and in reality, not every one of these kids is going to play D1 college hockey, and not all of these kids are going to go to the minors and then go to the NHL. So preparing them for a life outside of hockey is a huge part of what you guys do.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely to get them ready for that next step of college. I mean, that is the ultimate goal. I mean, some guys might think that they can play professional hockey, but I mean, it's tough to get there these days. It's tough to even get into college. I mean, now when Tim and I were talking the other day that I didn't really get to run into European hockey players until I got to professional hockey. They didn't really care too much about the education. Now European players are coming over here now. So now it's not just the United States and Canada you're battling with. Now you're battling with Europeans to get for these jobs. So it's definitely, hockey is definitely spreading. That college, getting that degree is definitely it's definitely spreading out throughout the world basically. And now these Europeans are coming over here, and so it's there's a lot more players now.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be tough for these kids, but I don't want them to be scared about it. I want them to look at this as a challenge and and take it as it comes, and and overcome it.
Absolutely.
Now you mentioned them getting acclimated and all that. You guys were asking, you still needed some more billet families. Do you guys still need?
I talking with Carol, our billet coordinator, yesterday for a little bit. I think right now, if anybody wants to become one, absolutely. We're sitting pretty well. A lot of parents and families have stepped up here the last few weeks to offer up their homes and allow these outsiders to kind of come in their lives for the next 5 or 6 months or so. But yeah, we have some extras as far as the kids we have signed. We have billets waiting for when we get more players, but we can never have too many billet families.
Yeah, well, and I'm sure maybe this is something that has already been asked in one of the interviews where I wasn't here, but when you came in, and either Coach Hodge or Tim, either of you can answer this, but when you came in and you looked at the way the system is, did you see anything that said, well, I want to do something a little bit differently this time? Is there anything in particular that I know it's a tough question and you don't have to throw anybody under the bus, but is there something that you would like to change to your liking?
I mean, going along with Haji's saying here is definitely getting these kids to college, and you know what, even if college isn't the dream for a lot of these guys and they want to just go work, or they just want to go do whatever they want to do, we just want to develop them into be a better person and develop them to become a man.
Yeah.
To help them further their whatever it is in life. I mean, we're going to fully support these guys for whatever they want to do. And it's not, life's not all going to be about hockey. We want these kids to enjoy their time while they're here. We don't want to burn them out by keeping them at the rink for 8 or 9 hours a day. We want them to get away, have a little bit of fun, enjoy the town, get to know people in town, go hang out with your buddies. That's what it is too. If you're spending all your time at the rink, by come February or March, maybe that's what happened last year, was they were all just burnt out. So it's definitely going to be a push to, when we're at the rink, it's a job. We're going to take it serious. We're going to do everything we can to perform for the weekend. But when you're away from the rink, don't think too much about hockey.
Yeah, well, and they're again, these are these 16 and 20-year-olds. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty tough for for an 18-year-old kid to concentrate on anything for more than, I don't know how you guys do it. I mean, it really is like wrangling cats.
Yeah.
I don't envy your job.
Have you ever wrangled cats before, DC?
Yes. I've wrangled 2 cats before.
For what?
Well, I've just had 2 cats.
Stew? You have a stew going or something?
No. But I mean, if you've ever had 2 cats in the same place and try to get them to do the same, now try doing that with 25 teenagers. And one was more than enough for me.
I think the biggest thing is controlling their technology use.
Oh,
yeah.
Because you can't even have a conversation with these kids until their heads are down doing all this and
well,
texting.
Wait, what'd you say?
Yeah, exactly.
Texting.
Yeah. Now that's actually an interesting point. We only have a couple of minutes left, but what do you do as a policy with? Because I mean, these kids can get in trouble with this kind of stuff. Yeah. Do you, as a team, have some kind of policy with social media, with cell phones, with the Snapchats and the Twitters and all that kind of stuff?
We do have a few type of rules on the team. I mean, there's no cell phones in the locker room, so you kind of get away from that kind of tendency of sending out
pictures of people that shouldn't be taking pictures of.
Exactly. I mean, but on the other hand, though, you got to treat these kids like like we're saying, like men. They'll have their chance to either burn us or to prove us right that they are allowed to they can accept to use their cell phones and this and that. But the first time that they burn us and if we lose a game and they're on their cell phones or something like that, that's when it's going to have to be, okay, guys, now we got to treat you kids, you guys like kids. Now we got to take your cell phones, and it's like, do you really have to send out a text? Do you have to really blurt out loud when you read a text? I mean, it's only words on a screen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really, you can do it in your privacy of being quiet and send your text out, but when we win a game, it's going to be fun. It's going to be like we're on top of the world. But when we lose a game, it's going to feel like we're dying almost. I mean, you got to feel that way. I mean, I've been on teams before where you lose a game and a guy might have 2 goals and he's happy because he had his 2 goals, and it's like no. Hockey is one of those things where it's not an individual sport. You need the whole team with you, and you might have had a good game, but the whole rest of the team didn't. So you can't be happy just because you had an individual performance that was good. I mean, you got to be sad, you got to be mad, and and that's what we got to get into these kids, because when you get to college, if they do play hockey in college, I mean, coaches there really don't. I mean, they don't care. I mean, you're paying $35,000-$40,000 to go to school there for tuition. They'll tell you you're not playing, and they'll continue collecting your payments. So it's just the type of thing, that they got to learn that in college it's no joke. It's really not a joke, and they don't take it. They don't take things lightly there. And you only get one chance really before they have 5 or 6 other kids they're already recruiting that they'll bring on board. And so it's just a type of thing where there won't be any cameras or phones in the locker room. So they can't take any stupid pictures, I guess you would say. But they will have their chance to be able to have their phones and talk and do whatever they can. But as soon as they get
to be teenagers, but you just got to be careful.
Exactly.
Okay, and we're completely out of time. You got one real quick?
Well, quickly, while we have a couple seconds left, what's coming up? When are the exhibition games and everything else?
The exhibition games start on September 11th and 12th. We're playing the Alexandria Blizzard. And then the following weekend, we're playing against University of Wyoming. And then the weekend after that is our home opener for the regular season. So the good thing is that we don't have to leave the state of Wyoming. We don't leave Gillette for the whole month of September. So these kids can get acclimated to their billet families, schooling. Kids are getting jobs and that kind of stuff. So it gives them a little, 3-4 weeks there to kind of get acclimated and get their stuff going before we hit the road. So that's what's coming up here. And, like I said, Tim and I we're chomping at the bits for this to get going. So we're real excited.
Yeah, I think a lot of people around town are. Thank you so much, Coach Hodge and Coach Brunell. Did I get it right?
Absolutely.
I wrote it down, and I wanted to make sure I got it right.
Yep.
And trust me, that's an oddity for me to get the name right the first time. Thank you so much, guys. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see you soon. Thank you, Chris, Dan Sherwood, who's just standing back in the corner, and Vic, who already left. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock sharp. Stay tuned for Rush.
Listen every Tuesday for coverage of the Pronghorns, Wild, Camels, Cowboys, and pro sports. The Tuesday Morning Quarterbacks Hour. Don Carpenter on News Talk 1270 KIML. 70 KIML. 70 KIML. 70 KIML. 70 KIML.